Today I'm going to be going out and I'm going to be filming a bunch of different things in Boston and maybe Harvard Square to get some stock footage. That's how I do a lot of the intros. If I haven't bought the stock intros on audiojungle.com, I create my own. That's why you saw the elevators, you know, the mall, aerial shots, the time lapse from day to night. That was at the end of the last video. A bunch of other different things. So I want to get a lot of good people shots, and I'm going to be bringing pretty much all my cameras that I use right now, because this is episode 9 and I promised a particular viewer named Megupets that I would showcase a lot of stuff that I have. But before, here, let me put down my bag. I'm going to show you guys something. Alright, I wouldn't say that this is a shrine. Let's see if we can get better picture quality. Alright, the lighting should be a whole lot better for you guys to see exactly what's behind me. I just had to wrangle a couple of the lights, and it gets really frustrating because lighting can be the trickiest part of a shoot, because you may not have enough light, or you may not have the right light. I'm fortunate enough to have some really good light, but it's not perfect because they don't have a thing called a dimmer to, well, you guys know a dimmer. It's like in kitchens and whatever. You just turn it down. It's just less bright. It's less power going to the lights. Speaking of lights, for the gear, right there. There's one, and there's the other. And those two lights are focused on me whenever I'm shooting video. Here. If I'm facing that way, they're shooting right here. But normally if I'm talking, normally right here, this is where the camera was when I was doing the last video talking to you guys. Those are kind of different shots, either right here or facing that way. So those are my lights. Anyway, back to the cameras. I don't have, here, God, it's the trickiest thing, especially with the Sony, with the Samsung Galaxy S7. Here, let's see if we can budget. Not budget. Let's see if we can reach this. I don't have my first camera. It was a Sony HANDYCAM with the night vision. That was the first one that I did a lot of my movies when I was a teenager. And I filmed it on these. Look at these things. They're like mini VHS. I did film a lot on VHS when I was really, really young, but I never really had those as movies and stuff. We filmed a lot of TV shows, a lot of other crazy things right there. So it's not necessarily gear, but it's something that's from my past. This was the first camera that I actually used that had SD cards in it. Let's see if I can pop it open. Right there. Right there. You know, plugged it in. You'd be able to see through that. And it wasn't necessarily a snapshot camera, but it was a great Sony HANDYCAM in regards to being able to shoot video. I also use this a lot. It's the NIKON CoolPix. So, pictures and video, which was still cool. It was a whole lot better than a lot of cameras. But before this camera and this camera, there was the Kodak camera that's actually coming to me via Amazon in the mail. I paid $50 to get it here. That's the camera I used when I took a lot of pictures and video when I was in Egypt, Dubai, Australia, and then I lost it, and I lost the pictures as well, and it breaks my heart. And that's kind of like the memento. This is kind of like the memento from there, because that was my uniform hat. So you got clamps. There we go. Fix the light. We got the hat. We got the clamps, and then we got the drone, the rescue drone. Yeah. Oh yeah, and this weird kind of right there that I'll use for GoPros and swinging moments right there, so it's not like shaky. And of course, you guys know, a little tripod. Funny thing is, if you guys were watching the Walking Dead stuff, this actually telescopes all the way until like as tall as me. And I put the camera on there and put it at an angle right in that corner, right where that little cartoon of us, me and Joe, right there. That's where I put it. It was a really tight angle, but I was happy to get a good shot. I really need to do something about that lighting if I'm going to be able to film vlogs right here. I hope that this might not be a particularly long video. It may. This is another reason why I hate driving. A, cost of parking here in Boston, and B, trying to find a parking space. Life would be so much easier if I just lived in the city or in another metropolitan area where I didn't have to worry. Hey, look at that, it's wide open. Didn't have to worry about this kind of stuff, but you know, beggars can't be choosers, right? The one thing that I want to do every time I come to Boston is try to find a way to get a good time lapse and try to get a high shot, because it's kind of hard to do that when you're on low down. I can get it on the GoPro driving, angle it up, and then streetwise time lapses do the best. So I don't know how far up I can go, but it would be great to be able to get on the roof of this parking structure, stairs to roof access, through door, and there are cars here. Sweet. Oh, awesome. Fucking sweet. Oh, yes. Yes. Nice. We get the aerial shots right down there, especially being able to get stuff down there. Something I really want now, because I can now set up my good camera, be able to film. Well, typically, when I'm doing a time lapse, I'm trying to put together at least, it's a quick one, maybe 1 to 3 minutes, because I use them in between cuts and they're no more than maybe 10 seconds long. So being able to get those quick cuts, and I could be recording for 5 minutes. Like I accidentally left the GoPro on for like a half an hour, and that's how I was able to get the sky going red, going by and getting dark. If you really want to have that for the motion, I learned that you need to have it on along and then put it in something like Adobe Premiere and then speed it up to between 1500 to 3000, and here's how you do it. All right, let's go. This is the Canon EOS Rebel T5i. I use this while filming in my studio. Hope you enjoy. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I really feel a little uncomfortable vlogging in public, because it's a whole lot easier to do it inside my room and talk to you guys in a private space. But me walking around with a selfie stick with a GoPro, talking to myself, hoping that, you know, this works out and I'm able to put it on YouTube. So this is the GoPro Hero 5 Black. This is the camera that's waterproof and can handle the cold and me dropping it, so I really don't have to worry about stuff. So I use this to record when I was actually flying the drone, you know, the one where I actually ran out of frame and then came back in. You know, I wanted to be able to mount it and not have to worry. It retails for about $3.99, I think. Yeah, $3.99. And this is a whole lot cheaper than the Key Mission 360. I love this camera. It's sturdy. I got 2 micro SD cards, 2 batteries, charges really well, and completely, you can drop it in Mac, you can drop it in PC, and you're good. You're solid. Pasteur, my favorite Vietnamese restaurant here. Pretty much my favorite any kind of restaurant here in Chinatown. Ah, we're gonna run. We're gonna run. You know how I said Faux Pasteur was my favorite? I lied. 163 Vietnamese sandwich is probably my favorite, and I will try to go there as much as possible when I go to Chinatown, because their sandwiches, they seem healthy, they're delicious, and the fact that you really do not have to wait as long as faux pasteur. Faux pasteur is great, but if you really need to get a quick snack and you enjoy Vietnamese food, and you live in Boston, you're visiting, I definitely recommend 163 Vietnamese sandwich. It's pretty dope. Very cool. Less than 3 minutes. Moment Thai. That is some awesome graffiti. That is amazing. While I'm taking out my next camera, there's something I always have to do. Is I always have to be aware of my surroundings and exactly where I am, who I'm next to, and also anything potentially making sure that I, cover and then kind of hump my camera or whatever. This is the Paramount Theater. It was closed when I was a kid. I have no idea when they shut it down, but Emerson College was able to rehab it, keep the name, bring back the look, and now they feature students' plays, I believe, small movies, I guess maybe Bostonians and other local stuff. I think I even saw the Book of Mormon there. I'm not quite sure. I think that was probably the Wang Center. But this is beautiful to see, because this is definitely something that brings back life to the theater district, which this is. So theater district is connected to Chinatown, and it's kind of like mixed more or less, or right next to each other, but it's really cool to see, and I wanted to come by here and show you guys in the video. So that guy walking, see right there, that guy walking away right there, straight up, was walking right next to me. He stops and starts taking a pee. That's just a small reminder how, even though I love Boston, a lot of the things that we have here, there are some really weird things. Alright, that's every camera I use for the vlog. I hope you enjoyed this unique way that I showed you which camera does what. And also showed you a bit of Chinatown. If you're not from Massachusetts, if you've never been here, hopefully I showed you the cool places, so if you do ever come to Boston, you'll be able to check it out, alright? Take care of yourself.